Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our meetup for the Media Ed Club of the Media Education Lab. What an amazing group we've got, about 20 folks in the house today, and we're going to talk about vertical video literacy. And I will just admit to you at the outset, one of the reasons I picked this topic was because I'm teaching broadcast media this school year, which I've done a lot with before, but I haven't taught that for middle school yet. And so I've just been diving into this topic and these apps, and um, I'm excited about this. I'm not only excited to share, but I'm excited to connect with you because I know a lot of you have done different things with vertical video. So if you have not already, please go ahead and put in the chat where you are coming to us from. I did drop a link to these slides, which you are welcome to share and do whatever you'd like with. We've got links on the post for this event on the Media Ed Lab's website. And as always, we've got some sort of highly recommended resources and then optional ones. And if you want to put in addition to where you're coming from and what you do professionally, where are you seeing and maybe sharing vertical video now? We'll have a few very brief announcements, and then I'm going to kind of share the bulk of the presentation today, which is basically ideas and demos that involve vertical video. And then we'll have some time for small group discussion breakouts. And I want to really encourage you not to leave if you can stay. Sometimes folks are scared of this part, and I think it's one of the best parts to get to meet other educators and media literacy folks, right? We've got people who aren't necessarily teaching right now, but they're just passionate about media literacy and citizenship and this host of different issues that we end up talking about in the lab. So we'll do that, and we'll come back here for a little wrap up, and it's all going to go so fast as it always does. So we do have a collaborative document that you can access at wfire.me/media club. And there is this Google form, which I announce every time and would welcome you. I haven't created anything earth-shattering with this yet, but I don't know about you, but I just love to be able to learn from other educators and others who are interested in stuff that I'm into. And so there's a whole lot of reasons why not everybody's into sharing these days, but if you do share somewhere, especially on an open platform like Blue Sky or Mastodon or YouTube, but hey, if LinkedIn's your place, feel free to share that. And that is an ongoing project of mine, is to try to help facilitate our sharing. So thanks to Scott Moss, who is helping out with the co-hosting today and letting everybody in. If you're not already, you need to sign up for the newsletter. The Media Education Lab is doing awesome stuff all the time. And some of the upcoming events you can see here, they're just on the events page. So we've got Together We Rise also happening today, the Media Compass for Palestine that we talked about, I think last time too, which is actually a media literacy camp that we can support, is happening right now in Israel. Coming up on September 16th, we've got Leading from the Library Poetry Reflecting on AI with Cody Saylor, and we've got another event tied to that coming in October. So there'll be a lot more coming in the fall, but the best way to stay in touch is to sign up for the email newsletter, and then also you can follow on the socials as well. I also want to put in a plug for Civics of Technology. This is a group not affiliated formally with the lab, but we've had several of our folks present for them. I'll be presenting again for them in their free Zoom conference that happens this week, August 6th and 7th. And you can go to civicsoftechnology.org and you can find out and register. I will tell you, this is a pretty AI interrogatory and critical group. And I personally find that to be extremely refreshing and also personally challenging to me as an educator and a citizen. And it's another great way to network. So here's our plan today. I'm going to share with you two personal stories about vertical video. And one of them is going to be sort of a confession, but it's really a story about where we are, because just a few years ago, I thought vertical video was a sin, basically, to create and share. And that's changed a bit. I'm going to share some pedagogical recommendations, or just kind of where I'm coming from as a current media literacy middle school classroom teacher with the creation of media, especially in this day of AI. How do we authentically assess students and student learning? And I think the creation and sharing of media projects offers some real exciting possibilities. No silver bullet, but some really great options. talk a little bit about why vertical video is important, and then go over some skills and software demos. Originally, I thought, I'm going to just demo this stuff live, but I don't know what your experience is, but whether it's in the classroom face to face or it's online, a lot of times video, especially when you cue it up to the exact spot you want, can really help. And so that's what I'm going to do, is just share a couple clips using the feature in Google Slides where we can play from this point to this point. We'll give some breakout discussions and then come back for the whole group. So this is fun. This is about a 2-minute video. How many of you have seen this? This is the clean version of vertical video syndrome. Has anybody seen this thing before? This is kind of old, but this is fun. And oh man, you know what? Doggone it, this is going to be really, really great. I'm going to have to click my share button again because I bet you've done this before. I did not choose share sound, and few things are... Okay. Few things are more exciting than seeing the presenter try to present a video and not hearing the sound. So let me push play. I should have tested this before, but I'm going to go ahead and press play. And yeah, we've got optimized. I think we're good. So let me know if you can hear this.
Meh.
This video didn't have to look this way. It could have been prevented. Say no to vertical videos.
Vertical videos happen when you hold your camera the wrong way. Your video will end up looking like crap. Meh.
There are more and more people addicted to making vertical videos every day. It's not crack or nothing, but it's still really bad. There are two different kinds of people who are afflicted with VVS. The first group treats the videos they shoot like pictures. They don't mean any harm. They just don't understand that while you can turn a picture, you can't really turn a video. Vertical video syndrome is dangerous. Motion pictures have always been horizontal. Televisions are horizontal. Computer screens are horizontal. People's eyes are horizontal. We aren't built to watch vertical videos.
I love vertical videos!
Nobody cares about you.
If this problem's left unchecked, YouTube will begin showing 4 videos at once, just to save bandwidth.
Letterboxed vertical videos would be the size of a postage stamp.
And it will spread everywhere. Movie screens have always been horizontal. If vertical videos become accepted, movie theaters will have to be tall and skinny.
And all the movie theaters would have to get torn down and rebuilt. And by the time they were rebuilt, Mina Coolitz would be old and ugly.
And birds will crash into them and die.
And we will all get stiff necks from looking up.
And no one will sit in the front row ever again.
And George Lucas will re-release Star Wars again. The skinny edition.
I was never really able to tell the story that I wanted to tell. This is a great chance for me to experiment with a new technology.
You're a jerk.
Every time a mobile device is used to record video, the temptation is there. Just say no. Say no to George Lucas. Say no to old Mila Kunis. Say no to vertical videos.
And if you see someone doing it, say, "You're not shooting that right, dummy!"
Okay, so yes, this is a bit of a confession time, but it is also just like where we are with respect to video. And man, my Zoom's, where's my meeting? Okay, there we go. This is not true anymore. I'm not going to teach this to kids anymore, but this is where we were. This is where I was for years, leading iPad media camps, teaching teachers how to create media on their iPad, and then trying to help students, shoot horizontal video. Now, I am going to say that it's hugely important to think about audience. And this is a pivotal thing for kind of all media literacy, like who's the audience? And if we're going to create content for what some people might call laid back couch potato, sitting back, looking at the TV, we can use all that screen real estate. So I am not going to be teaching my broadcast media kids this year, just shoot vertical video, but compared to how I would have been 10 years ago saying, it's terrible, vertical video is really a big deal. There's a lot of folks doing it, and there's a lot of good reasons to create it. So, my other personal story is basically about, well, I guess this is where I kind of come from. Maybe I'm mixing this up a little bit with showing with media. I think it's just so great to have students create different kinds of media representations of ideas and even transmediate, take something from one format like an essay and then represent that with media. And I have been doing this for a while. In this unit, especially, this is called my Fruit Loop Conspiracy Theories unit, and this was born in 2019 before COVID at the Summer Institute in Digital Literacy with the Media Education Lab up in Rhode Island. And part of this was like, what is going on with the weaponized media landscape now? And all this conspiracy theory, and how do we help students and just people acquire better skills to be able to not be taken in by especially really crazy, crazy ideas and conspiracies. And this is still a big issue. Well, up until last spring, I was having students create a pretty traditional video. And I've got a link here that you can go to, and I'll just drop it right in to our chat. We use Canva on our campus. And this is, of course, no student information. This is just my lesson. But for the first time this past spring of 2026, I had my students create a video short, instead of a more traditional narrated slideshow. And, I've got all kinds of past videos that students have created. Well, there's all kinds of videos, but just here's the thing. I was blown away at the quality of what my students created. I was so pleased at this format. And so what I'm going to mainly share today is Canva. We've got a lot of schools today using Chromebooks. And even though there's some limitations to a web-based video editor, today in the fall of 2000 or summer of 2026, it's more powerful than ever to be able to edit on the web. And so while you can use apps and people are using all kinds of different things, Canva does have apps, but it also allows you to edit through the web. And that's what my students primarily did. Some of them used their iPad, but some of them used laptops and used the Chrome browser. So this is a very short video example that I created. I did not require my students to be in the video themselves, but being able to make a green screen video, having themselves in it, narrate it, look for the other elements that you see here. You're going to see, I think you're going to see captions. I think we will later at least. And a lot of my kids use captions because I encourage that. You're going to hopefully notice that the audio quality isn't horrible. And if you've done much with student created media, you know, and even yourself, like it's easy to create crummy video because the audio is bad. And so Canva, as well as Adobe Premiere for iOS, have wonderful buttons that let you clean up the audio. So here's real fast. This is like 60 seconds. This was my example culminating video. And then my kids created all kinds of similar videos, but different.
People online are trying to pull your strings all the time. I'm not talking about puppets. I'm talking about content designed to make you angry, scared, envious, or just outraged enough to share. Was the moon landing faked? Are the Artemis astronauts performing on a green screen? They aren't. But how do you know? That's where SIFT comes in. Stop before you share. Investigate the source. Find trusted coverage. Trace claims to the original. Here's a 21st century upgrade. When something feels wild or emotionally charged, paste the claim into an AI chatbot, Claude, Gemini, or ChatGPT, and ask it to fact check. It's fast, it's helpful, and it can save you from spreading something false to everyone you're connected to. Media literacy researcher Mike Caulfield recommends this approach to SIFT, and AI can really help in this very difficult situation. So SIFT. Stop before you share and investigate it with an AI chatbot.
Yay. Okay. And then there's a little bumper at the end as well, which is another kind of best practice, I think, for creating video. So I am just, this story is one of my most important ones, I think, from last year. And it was that A lot of our students, not everybody, but a lot of them have a great deal of media literacy and video literacy specifically because they watch so much video. And this is part of why it's oftentimes boring for kids to watch a teacher created video that's mainly a talking head. And I don't want to give the idea that I'm giving in to edutainment and this idea that we just need to make everything entertaining and everything needs to be a video short. One of the articles that I don't have a slide for here, but it's on our website, talks about all the brain breaks and the ways that we as classroom teachers are having to help get kids' attention and deal with shortened attention spans that many teachers will say they clearly see in students. What I'm going to argue is that video shorts are an important way of communicating in our media landscape today. I think it's important that we equip students and each other with skills to be able to interrogate and understand these media messages. And one of the best ways to do that is to have students create the messages themselves. Plus, as I'll say, it's faster to grade on a real practical level, depending on how many students you have. I could do 5 to 10 to 20 minute documentaries, but it's going to take a lot longer. Your purpose is going to change, but I really was happy with this, and I'm going to stick with this video short assignment as a culminating assignment for this particular unit next year. So in terms of pedagogy or instructional philosophy, I shared the book Playing with Media back in 2011, and I still believe this is so true, right? How do you get comfortable using technology enough to the point that you're willing to do it in front of students when it might mess up? I think we need to play, and that's one of the things I've done a lot this summer. And in 2013, I wrote another book, and I started this Show with Media website to really show examples and what kinds of projects. And so these vertical video projects can fit into this quick edit video category. They're green screen because, like Canva for education, has a free button, remove the background. If you're not on an educational account, it is a premium feature, but it's really powerful to do with images or to do with video, and then also just a digital story. This is a big Scrabble word I love, and in part it's because it's the only Wikipedia article I ever started that's still available. It's transmediation. I started it in 2005 when I was starting my PhD at Texas Tech. And it means to me, taking ideas from one medium and putting them into another. And so thinking about your students, and for me as a media literacy teacher, taking an essay they've written for their English class or a research paper that they did for history, and now let's create a media representation of that in an AI dominated world where there's all sorts of challenges. And I'm not saying give up on writing. Of course, we should not give up on reading and writing. But this is a powerful strategy for helping students learn, helping them teach others, and helping them acquire not just media, but just like literacy skills, because media is so dominant in our society, and video and vertical videos specifically are really dominating more than they ever have before. So 2 quick ideas to share with you. I found years ago this project called a 5-photo story. Take a fairy tale, take a movie, take a book, and represent it just visually with 5 pictures. And I love to have students create a 5-photo story and share that, and it can be inside a slideshow or a Google Doc or all kinds of places, and then use that basically as a foundation to kind of build. And what do you want to do with that now? We could make a quick edit video, or we could make a narrated slideshow or a puppet video or something else. A digital story. But keeping it simple, keeping it short, but really focusing on the purpose, focusing on the intention. What is it that you want to teach? What is it you want to communicate? And how are you not only going to do that with words, how are you going to do that with visuals? So one of the articles I shared as a recommended source of information was from this vertical video guide by the Spark House. And they're contending that basically there's a ton of folks that are using vertical video, especially with this one-to-one connection. I am so fascinated by who our trusted voices are. I think I'm going to start a series later this year about this, like share 5 trusted voices. Who do you listen to because you believe they share valuable information, they're trustworthy? A lot of creators and influencers today use vertical video as a way of making this connection. And so whether you are on TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat, Facebook, all these different platforms, vertical video has become an increasingly dominated format. Just practically as a classroom teacher, I actually didn't put my fall numbers because I have smaller class numbers. And I'm not trying to say, oh gosh, how many kids I have. I know there's people in this room that have way more students in a semester than I do. But in my broadcast media, for instance, in the spring, I'll have two sections. I'll have 44 kids. That's a lot of video to evaluate and grade. And I believe, and I've experienced this, that multiple small projects lead to more learning than just one big project. And so that's another reason why I think encouraging, challenging, inviting students to create short video projects, sharing them, is beneficial for their own learning. And then also show and share time, because I love show and share time when we are able to celebrate the work that students have done and learn. Sometimes every idea can get better with feedback. And it's just that is a really important part of my class. And I think that shorter video also lends itself better to show and share time, which we don't do every day, but we do it a lot. So captions as well as text banners are helpful and important. I don't have the statistics, but there's a lot of folks that don't always have their volume up when they're scrolling through reels. And so having captions up there not only helps our learners and viewers that may have a audio impairment or a hearing impairment, but it also just helps when people don't have their headphones on or they're scrolling. So this is not an educational example, but I'm very active in our local branch of Indivisible, Charlotte, and I love this platform, Descript. I discovered this through AI about a year ago, and it's mind-blowing. It's one of the few tools I subscribe to. Anyway, Timothy Snyder, who you may know from books like On Tyranny and On Freedom, was in a webinar that we hosted, and I used Descript and its AI overlord to readily, create these different clips. So this wasn't created with Canva, but again, what you're going to see here are captions that it dynamically created, and I could go in and edit, and also a banner, because part of what these video shorts are designed to do is help people listen to Timothy Snyder and his ideas, but also point people to the organization that hosted this webinar, and then also hopefully point people to be able to see the full webinar that he gave a couple months ago. So I'm just going to play this. This is like 60 seconds.
We have to build up a sense of a future. And if people are active and indivisible, you already are doing that because you know that when there's a meeting around the corner, when there's like the next thing to do, that does help to build up a sense of the future. And then in policy levels too, the better we make the schools, right? The better we make the healthcare, the more we're building up a sense that people have a future where they have options. This is why public university and lack of student debt is so important too, right? Like if you can get people into big public institutions or universities where they can choose their futures, if they have good public schools, can go to big public universities, then they can imagine a future for other people too. Whereas if we make it, if we attack the universities, if we stifle them, if we take their funding, if we censor them, if we lambaste professors, if we turn, and then if we burden students with debt, then we're taking that future.
Okay, so again, several different things that you're seeing there that I would consider to be best practices for video shorts. Having that little bumper on there is cool too. You can make those very readily now in Canva with a little animation, and it can be 5-second, 10-second. Put that at the end. Those are some things that I want to do myself as I'm creating vertical video and as I'm teaching others to do that as well. Let's talk about aspect ratios. One of the things that I teach students right away in Canva to do is how to create a custom size. So in fact, I am going to jump out and just show this in my browser. So it's overwhelming how many templates there are here, okay? But I like to go to the custom size, because then we're immediately talking about pixels and resolution and aspect ratio. So 1920 by 1080 is the aspect ratio in pixels that I usually use to create and I just did that wrong. I did that horizontal. Yay, the failure bow. Woo! Let's do that the reverse. Let's do 1080 as the width, because this is vertical, by 1920. When we talk about HD, that's what we're talking about. So, there we go. There's my vertical canvas. So I actually have not really had my kids get into the templates a lot. I usually have them start from scratch. I don't know, that's just kind of how I've been. I probably do need to introduce them a little more to templates, but I figure they can go into those on their own. This is an important thing, talking about aspect ratio and helping students. And so we can talk a little bit about what these different formats are. What does it mean to do landscape? What does it mean to do portrait? If I'm going to do full HD versus what they call HD vertical, I can put those aspect ratios in. I think that's a good baseline to learn about. I love to talk about A-roll and B-roll. I first learned about this from Marco Torres, becoming an Apple Distinguished Educator back in 2005. Any kind of video that we're going to do is going to be more interesting if we're not a talking head and just, showing a talking head. And I remember being at Texas Tech University and distance learning in the early 2000s. And I mean, we were putting up 3-hour videos of professors, right, that were basically lecturing for almost 3 hours. And there wasn't B-roll. The B-roll is the supporting footage. The A-roll is the primary narration. And it's great too that you don't have to have your kids be on screen. It can be really good to have that establishing shot. Okay, that's Wes, that's Barbara, that's Hall, or whoever's talking. But then you go to the B-roll because it's more interesting. And one of the great things about tools like Canva today is that they have such a repository of copyright-friendly media. This has been a challenge forever for me as a media educator. How do we get stuff we can legally use and reuse? And that is an important conversation. I'm not talking, I am mentioning copyright in that context, but I really do like having that inside the world of the app. And so this is an important vocabulary term, I think, to introduce. Let's talk about captions. I'm going to play for you about a 50-second clip. This is from about an 8-minute video that Canva published when Canva 2.0 came out. I think it was last fall. I think last fall was when Canva 2.0 came out and Adobe came out with their mobile app for Adobe Premiere, which I've been using tons this summer and I absolutely love. It's a free app. And you can pay for additional AI credits and things, but I haven't had to pay for anything and I've loved it. But this is how easy it is to add captions within Canva. And again, Canva is free to use and I'm not getting a kickback from them. I'm not related and connected to them in any way. I'm just loving their tool. And in addition to being an app, we've got a lot of cell phone bans in schools today. But if the kids have a device, they have a Chromebook, they've got a laptop, they got a web browser, they can do this.
Created for my class. All I need to do is click on the video, go to text, then choose captions. I select the clips I want to grab captions for, and then hit generate captions. That's it. Canva does the rest, syncing the text to the audio in seconds. I can even personalize my captions by choosing a student-friendly font, changing the color, or moving them to an area where it's easier to read. The first thing I want to show is this incredible time-lapse of a seedling emerging. Isn't that amazing? Now every student can follow along, whether they're watching with sound, reading as they go, or just needing a little extra support.
Now, an interesting thing about this video is their focus is really teacher-created video content, which is great, but I don't have time to create video content for every part of my lesson, so I rely on all kinds of other video content, which I pre-screen. I do create video content sometimes, but having students create this and having students use these tools is what I think
created for my class.
So much more powerful. I'm going to mention AI video, and this might be a great thing here in a minute when we go to breakout rooms to talk about. What do you think about the use of generative AI for students to create media content? I have experimented with the use of AI tools in all of my classes with students. The number one thing I'm emphasizing this year is full attribution, because if students don't fully attribute for me the conversations they've had with the chatbot, I don't know how impressed or unimpressed to be with what they've given me, because I've had students give me things I'm like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. And then I am able to see what they asked the chatbot and I'm like, wow, I think that took you about 15 seconds and it really didn't involve a lot of thought. But being able to not only draw on this library of content, but then also, as this example will show, say, yeah, I'm doing a golden retriever little video. I want a golden retriever running through, water puddles. That's what this demo shows. And I'm just going to play about, again, 60 seconds of this.
Hey everyone, I'm Jamie and welcome back. Have you heard? Canva just dropped a massive update to the video editor. It's called Video 2.0, and it's a game changer for anyone wanting to create professional looking videos without the headache of complex software. Whether you're making generate video, you can see you can generate images as well. I'm going to go put this prompt in. So it's a golden retriever puppy playing at the park, jumping in and out of puddles. And all I have to do is click this and it's going to go through and generate that video for me. So that only took about 30 seconds, but here we have our puppy jumping in and out of, well, it looked like one big puddle. If I click this, if you don't like what you get, you can regenerate. You can let it know if it's a good result or a bad result as well. So what can I do with this now? Well, just like any of the videos that I've been showing you, we can go ahead and click on it and it will add it to wherever we need. So if I want, collapse this, if I want to take this and place it in between or wherever I would like it, I now have this AI video that was quickly created that will match the theme that I'm working.
So what we're seeing here in the timeline of Canva is a really powerful timeline-based editor that far exceeds what we can do in the current version of iMovie, for instance, for iPad or iPhone, and even the desktop. iMovie, for some reason, unless it's been updated this summer and I haven't seen it, doesn't let you edit and create vertical video. It's just horizontal video. There was a Clips app they had, but it's been discontinued. I would look for Apple to probably do something in the vertical video space, probably with an updated iMovie at some point. But Canva with this 2.0 version really is powerful and flexible. One of the things I wasn't able to do before this webinar, but I am going to do for my students this summer, is actually take both of these videos that I've shared with you, download the transcripts, and then ask Claude AI to extract all the skills, because the skills these two videos teach are things I want all my broadcast media kids to learn how to do, how to make, how to clip, how to enhance the audio, how to trim, all of these different things. And so anyway, those are helpful video tutorials. And the other tool that I want to mention to you before we go to breakout rooms is Adobe Premiere. I decided not to try and cover two apps, but wow, am I excited and impressed with this, especially the enhanced audio, because I don't know how much you've experienced this, but it can be very challenging to get high quality audio. And I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but you don't need to go to a sound studio or whatever, a special room with, padded foam around or whatever, in order to get some really high quality audio. I've been super excited about this, and the fact that I can shoot the video, I can enhance the audio, as well as add captions are real powerful. And like that example I showed you from the Fruit Loop conspiracy theory, with this particular Adobe Premiere for mobile, or with Canva, so many good possibilities of that B-roll, using video, using images to make that video more engaging, communicate, tell the story you want to tell. And if you can't find the video you want, now there's the AI feature, which again is something, worth debating and talking about. So what I would like to do now is we're going to go to breakout rooms, and I'm going to go ahead and open them up. I want to encourage you to stay. If you got to go, you got to go. But we have, let's see, about 24 folks. So I'm going to create six, no, I'll do five. I'm going to create 5 different breakout rooms and just randomly assign you. And so I'm going to go ahead and open those up. What I'm going to encourage you to do in the next 10 minutes is introduce yourself to the folks in the room, who you are, what do you do professionally. And if that's all you do, that's just fine. But if you want to share anything you're thinking about now with regard to vertical video, with Canva, the things that we've talked about, what stood out for you? What are you thinking about? Or maybe you've got some tips. Maybe there's another app that you're using or a technique that you've used, questions that you have. So let's go meet each other and talk and visit. And then we're going to come back here with about 10 minutes to go, and we'll sort of wrap up and have people share some things from their rooms, ask questions. The rooms are open. Please go ahead and join. And I am going to pause our recording. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. We actually have 11 minutes left, and it looked like we had some conversations going. So let's just hear some reports, give some voice to what you heard or shared in your room or what somebody else did, and let's share out together.
Wes, our group raised a really interesting question, which is about the issues of the perceived lowered credibility of vertical video. That
Mm.
that horizontal video seems somehow more trustworthy than vertical video, and we wondered about interrogating that perspective and also what people in the room think about that.
Sounds like a great article, it's a topic for research. What do you all think? Do you find vertical video to be less trustworthy? I'm seeing nods. I wonder what would happen if we asked a younger generation and our students. My perception is that influencers create in different media, and because of their influence, they have credibility. I mean, it's so interesting why people trust who they do.
Well, AI has changed that game. And now I think there's going to be very soon a huge wave of like, do I really believe this?
Oh yeah.
Your notion, Wes, of putting it into checking it with Claude is a great one. But boy, you see someone, those animal videos you see, those little
Oh
animal
yeah.
verticals are so cute. But half of them, many of them are totally AI generated.
And we really are on the edge of this tsunami of AI content. We're experiencing a little bit of it now. I don't know about y'all, but I don't think I know a single person who's not overwhelmed today with the news feed and with media. And I just think this onslaught is going to continue. So like learning to filter our feeds and where we choose to share and trying to not just be in algorithmically controlled environments, I think is important. What else got shared in your groups?
I brought up the fact that I'm having a more difficult time finding teachers who want to work with me with tech because in my school district in Washington State, we're kind of having a backlash against technology right now,
Oh yeah.
where we're considering ditching all the Chromebooks. They're falling apart anyway. They're, 5 years old. And going back to pencil and paper. And in my heart, I love that. And I also have concerns about that. So it's real. Students don't want to do the tech. Teachers don't want to do the tech. It's very interesting.
The backlash is huge. And we talked about Jonathan Haidt and the anxious generation a few months ago. I really think that we need to step up as educational leaders advocating for good pedagogy and for literacy, because media literacy, like Black history is history. Media literacy is literacy. And I think that we've got to step up in our communities, and I'm trying to speak to myself here and really advocate for that because there is a backlash. Parents are upset, but I'm guaranteeing you a teacher didn't hand their child an iPad at the restaurant when they were 3. There's a lot of complex things going on, and parents are involved in this too. What else got shared in your rooms?
Another thing that we talked about when we're talking about believability, credibility, because we're saying like, why would commercial media outlets have like news items that will use vertical? And we we're kind of brainstorming and saying that it could be that it's perceived as being more authentic, more real.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think that would certainly kind of influence young people.
Well, that whole conversation about trusted voices and why are you trusting this person and trying to encourage a vetting process and an interrogation process. I know when our daughter was one of our children, I won't out who it was, but one of our 2 daughters was ordering some supplement from Australia from this influencer. We're like, wait a second, you're going to ingest this that like's not at all, FDA. And anyway, we had a conversation about that, and it's a wild world. It's a chaotic world, but I also think it's a wonderful world because there are so many voices that have been marginalized and not listened to historically, and we have so much opportunity to be able to listen to more than just a mainstream whatever channel. We got a few more minutes. What else? Hall, you got to say something about the California Media Festival. I think we're going to have him back because if you want to, you get somebody talking about what they're passionate about, they can talk all day. So give us your snippet. What's good about this California Media Festival?
Well, Leslie and I are both on the board, so we could both talk about it. But essentially, it's now in its 61st year. Mediafestival.org. I put the link in the chat, but it is for K-12 students. It's submitting in whatever they want. There used to be curriculum, so math and history. Now it's sort of whatever you want to do. It's judged by educators for the most part. You can be a judge. We think it works on many levels. One, a teacher can say to a kid, this work is really good. It's just a sock puppet, but you're doing Shakespeare. It's really good. So I'm going to submit this to the state festival. It's like, oh, so cool. Then we judge it. We have it in a nice venue. We were at the Mark Caper Auditorium this year in the fabulous downtown Central Library in Los Angeles. And we show a clip. They make a speech. They sit down. They see each other's work on a big screen with a big piece of volume. You talk about pushing for horizontal videos, Wes. It's like, well, you're going to see it like this, but it's a great thing to do. And we have a tab called Steal This Festival. So we'd love for you, like Atlanta and some other places, to do your own festival. You'll do it for 2 years, then realize how much work it is, and you'll stop. But for those 2 glorious years, these kids it'll impact them in a big way, especially, you talk about this too, Wes. There are a lot of kids who otherwise do not get out of the back of the room. And suddenly you put them in a group of 5 to make a video about the Boston Tea Party. And they're like, okay, and we should, and it's astonishing to see that happen. So it's a really important tool. Yeah. As time in the classroom shrinks, you need a thing like a state festival to encourage teachers to make that extra step to reach a kid that might not otherwise be celebrated.
And this gets back to what Lauren was talking about with the backlash, because when we celebrate wonderful student media, great ideas, compelling messages, I think that's one of the best ways to just make the case for why we all need to be in school with good teachers, because we need to learn how to communicate and find things that matter and be able to connect what matters to the dominant media of today. And that is video. So
I would say go to mediafestival.org, look at the winners. It's exactly what you said. Passionate work, great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also, hopefully we have it back now, some resources that are listed, in there. Know that you can be anywhere in the universe and have a watch party, to see what that event looks like. I also want to just mention, when you're talking about, teachers are using video when they teach. And so, and it's sort of passive for the kids. And it's sort of like, why are you denying them equal opportunity to create their own video?
I'm going to drop a link in. My wife and I both did a whole bunch of summer camps for kids. This is the only one that didn't make, but I'm going to have it as a lesson in some of my classes. I called it Make a Difference Media Camp. And, pick a topic, voices for wildlife, voices for girls and human rights, voices for our planet, your voice, your cause. There's just so many good opportunities for students to learn and dig deep into topics and then share and persuade and use media in the ways that it's being used all the time, which is to try to influence our thinking, to get our attention, and to trigger action. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, you're in the right place, because the Media Education Lab has a lot of folks that are passionate about helping students better understand media and being able to create it, so we can hopefully connect afterwards. We got just a couple more minutes. Other ideas, questions, tips? Nominate somebody from your group that hasn't shared. The wait time. All right, well, it must be time to wrap up. Well, I want to thank everybody for attending. This is a monthly webinar that happens, and we have a diverse set of topics. If you are interested in sharing, get in touch with me, Wes Fryer. I'll drop my email here into the chat. You can also find it on the Media Education Lab website. We I can't think and type at the same time. We're excited that you're interested in media literacy because I think there are all kinds of important reasons why it's a big deal, and we need to be networking. I don't think we should give up on community. I don't think we should give up on these tools that are more mature and robust and capable than they ever have been before. And so, Jill, yes, I don't, for this particular, that's a good question about CEU credit. I don't know if we could offer that. I haven't heard somebody ask that. So I'll find out. I'll talk to Renee and Yanti. Because why not? We're we're learning together, and you're spending an hour doing professional development. So I'll follow up on that and let you know. We will publish the recording of this on our website. You can go to mediaeducationlab.org, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a wonderful school year, whether you're in the Northern Hemisphere and about to start, or you're in the Southern Hemisphere. It's all good. We're educators and we're connecting, and the Media Lab is a great place to do it. Have a great day and a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.